Welcome back, guys. Here we are in 2.3, our final section of Chapter 2. Again, all chapter we've been organizing data, and we've gone from pretty general to pretty specific. If you remember in 2.1, we talked about all different types of graphs and how we will use those to organize data. Everything from different types of bar graphs to pie charts to time plots. And then in 2.2, we learned about a specific type of bar graph called the histogram. And the histogram is very useful for summarizing and displaying data in a consolidated fashion that's appealing to the eye. But there are a couple issues with histograms. Not issues, but really certain situations histograms don't work as well. You see, we sometimes want to look at exploratory data set. What's an exploratory data set? Well, we're going to kind of explore the data. We don't have really a specific question in mind. We just want to see what the data presents. We want to notice outliers. We want to find patterns in an exploratory data set. You can think of, if you remember from 2.2, one of the first examples we looked at was a bar graph, specifically a cluster graph, that compared internet usage at a school between boys and girls. Well, if I didn't necessarily want to look at the comparison between boys and girls, I just wanted to look at how much internet is being used at the school, maybe an exploratory data set would be slightly better. So we're just trying to look at the general data and see what pops out at us with an exploratory data set. So what are we going to do when we want to use those? Well, we're going to look at stem and leaf plots. And this is just another way of looking at and presenting data. Again, histogram, stem, and leaf plots, one's not inherently by itself better than the other. It just depends on what your goal is and what type of data you have. Okay? So what is a stem and leaf plot? I think you've seen it before. These will probably be review. But like 2.2, we will be going through an example as we go through the definitions. As always, please take good notes in this. If I'm writing on a smartboard, I want you writing it on your paper. So what is a stem and leaf plot? Well, it's another way of looking at and presenting data. So what does that actually flush out to be? What are we looking at for each part? We're going to take our data values and we're going to break them into two parts. The stem will be any digit left of the last digit, and the leaf is going to be the right or the lastmost digit. What do I mean here? Well, a couple examples. Let's say the number 23. How would that look in a stem and leaf plot? Well, it would look like 2, and you're going to have the stem here, and 3. What would 7 look like? Well, you're going to have a 0. You're going to have a 0 for the stem, and we'll get to the zeros in a second. You're going to have a 0 for the stem, and the 7 will be the leaf. Again, the rightmost digit is your leaf. If I had 1,242, 1, 2, 4 would be my stem, and 2 would be my leaf. Again, you will notice that the leaf will always be a single digit. Okay, when we are looking at a number and we are placing it in a stem and leaf plot, the rightmost digit becomes the leaf. Everything else will be a part of the stem. Okay, and this is very important when we work with data that has more than 2 digits. The second part of stem and leaf plots, we're going to line all of our stems in a vertical column from smallest to largest and place a vertical line to the right. Then we will put zeros where necessary. Okay? We will take all of our stems, organize them in a vertical fashion from smallest to largest, and place a vertical line to the right, and we'll put the zeros where necessary. So what is this going to look like? Well, let's look at an example in order to really understand this. Again, I promise I will scroll back up. If you need to go back, pause the video to finish writing down that definition, go for it. So the weight of carry-on luggage in pounds. Let's say I'm an airliner and I'm trying to set my baggage fees. And if I'm honest, I'm a little greedy. I probably want to charge a fair amount of people, maybe 50%, or I'm trying to set up categories. I don't know much about airline baggage fees, but if I'm initially setting up my baggage fees, I just want to figure out how much people's luggage weighs before I ever set my fees. I'm not looking for anything specific here. I'm not trying to prove that most luggage weighs below 50 pounds or anything like that. I just simply am trying to see what the data presents. So a stem and leaf plot would be a great way to look at this. Okay, so the weight of carry-on luggage in pounds. So what are we doing? Well, again, our goal here is to align all of our stems in a vertical column, organized from smallest to largest, and put a vertical line down the right. Okay? Well, if I look at these, all of my data is 2 digits. If I had 3 digits, I would need to have 2 stems and 1 leaf. 2 digits, I'm going to have 1 stem and 1 leaf. If I had 4 digits, I'd have 3 stem, 1 leaf. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So when I look at this, I want to look at the different stems I'm going to have. Now, I'm not going to look at the rightmost digit, but I'm going to be looking at the left digit in each one. Okay, so how could I do this? Well, first, let's just identify the different stems we have, and then we can organize them. So I have a 3, a 2, a 1, and a 4. Now, I'm not going to repeat any of the stems. Okay, so 3, 4, 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2. Hold up, I got the number 3 right here. Well, the number 3 is a single digit, but we already said earlier we're working with 2-digit data. Again, work with the data that has the highest number of digits. So I need to put a 0 here. Why? Because that single digit 3, that's the rightmost digit. That will be a leaf, which means the stem needs to be a 0. 21, 0, 38, 32. Keep going, 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 going. Oh, I see a 5. Okay, and these are going to be my stems. These will be my stems. So I go through, I identify what my stems are going to be based on how many digits are in most of the numbers, and then from there, identify the different stems I have. Now that I have identified the stems, I'm going to organize them from least to greatest. Actually, I'm going to give myself a little more room here. And I'm going to put a vertical line down the side. A vertical line down the side. If this is confusing to you right now, I promise, write down all the steps, keep chugging along, and it's going to make sense as you practice it. Kind of like the histogram. Okay? So we aligned all of our stems in a vertical column from smallest to largest, and we placed the line to the right. Put zeros where necessary. This is a big key with stem and leaf plots. We want it to look uniform. We are organizing our data. We want it to look nice. So we will put zeros where necessary. Where do we need to put a 0? Well, my largest number are 2 digits. Okay, my largest piece of data is 2 digits. So we're going to go with a 2-digit stem and leaf plot. The first digit being the stem, the last digit being the leaf. If our largest piece of data was 3 digits, then we would have 2-digit stems and 1-digit leaves. You will always have a single-digit leaf. The amount of digits in your stem just depends on your data. But since I've established that I will have a single-digit stem and a single-digit leaf, when I have only a single-digit number, it will automatically be the leaf because it is the rightmost digit. So I must supply a 0 where necessary. Okay, next step here. Place all the leaves in increasing order to the right of the vertical bar by the correct stem. Place all the leaves in increasing order to the right of the vertical bar by the correct stem. So we've established all of our stems. Now we will find our leaves. Now I would do this in 2 steps because all of my data here is disorganized. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to identify the numbers that go with each stem, and then I will reorganize them. So if you want to make 2 stem and leaf plots on your paper, one with the disorganized data, then one with the organized, go for it. I'm going to probably only do one. I'll do it unorganized, erase, and organize it just so that, because I have a limited space here. But if you want to jump straight to organized, you can also do that as well. So let's look at the 0, okay? I'm going to look back at my data, and I'm going to identify my pieces of data that have a 0 as the stem and a digit, or the single digit, as a leaf. What am I specifically looking for? Any number 0 through 9, right? Any number 0 through 9 will have a 0 as the first digit and a number as the second. So I look here, there aren't going to be many. I've got 3. I've got 0. And I believe that's it. So pretty simple, just 3 and 0, okay? So once I identify those, 3 and 0, I write them down, but I need to reorganize them so they are in order from least to greatest. And we're going to continue this pattern for the other 5 stems. So now I'm going to look at all my 1s. All my pieces of data that have stems as a 1. Let me double check, make sure I didn't miss any. Again, if you have any problem with this, it'll probably be accidentally missing data. So what do I have here? I have 12, 12, 18, 18, 17, 19. Well, what's the lowest number in there? Well, I have 2 12s. Do I write them twice? Absolutely. Even though these 12s repeat, those are 2 pieces of data. 2 pieces of data. Okay? I want to include both of them. One of the things with a stem and leaf plot is we don't want to lose any data. If we wanted to summarize all our data and put it into categories, I'd do a histogram. But I lose some of my data in the histogram. I don't always see specific numbers. The beauty of a stem and leaf plot is I get to see every data value, so I don't want to lose them. Okay, next I see a 7. And again, if it helps you to cross off once you've done them, do it, whatever helps your brain. I've got 2 8s and a 9. Okay, what I would encourage you to do is I would encourage you to pause the video, use this data set, see if you can finish the stem and leaf plot yourself. See if you can finish it all by yourselves. Okay? Check your work with mine when you're done. I'm going to identify all the 2s. And I'll try and do a pretty diligent job of not missing any data. You gotta triple check. Everyone's prone to mistakes. All right. Now, out of those, what is my smallest? Well, I've got 3 21s. So 1, 1, 1. Got a 22. I've got 2 26s, 2 27s, and an 8 and a 9. Okay? And an 8 and a 9. 8 and a 9. Okay? What I hope you see at this point is I hope you're getting the picture of what we're doing. I hope you're getting the idea. I hope it makes sense how we do this. For the sake of time in this video, for you watching, I am not going to finish the stem and leaf plot. I trust after you've watched this pattern, you can gather what we're going to continue doing. Okay? So what did we do? We placed all the leaves in increasing order to the right of the vertical bar by the correct stem. Our last step is to create a key to indicate the magnitude of the numbers in the stem and leaf plot. This is incredibly important if we worked with decimals. You must come up with a key. Stem and leaf plots are great for displaying data, but they're pointless if you don't know what they mean. So you need 2 things. You need a title. I already have it here. But you need a title for your stem and leaf plot. So under your stem and leaf plot, you should write weight of carry-on luggage in pounds, okay? Be specific, give titles. I know you've heard this all your life. When you create a graph or some sort of chart to organize your data, you must have a title. Then with the stem and leaf plot, you need a key, because if I just look at this and I've never seen a stem and leaf plot before, I have no idea what this means. This does nothing for me until someone tells me that 1-7 means 17 pounds. Okay, where does that come from? I don't care which piece of data you pick to use for your key, and you only need to use one. If you want to use more, you can. But when I look at this, I just picked the example of 1-7. You could have picked 0-0. You could have picked 2-7. I don't really care. Just pick one piece of data and explain what it means. What is the left side? When I see a 1 on the left side of the bar versus a 7 on the right, a 1 is my stem, a 7 is my leaf. What does that mean? Because the reality is, if I don't have any context, 1-7 could mean 1.7. And so on and so forth. Okay? So please, you must create a key for every stem and leaf plot you create, and you must have a title. I'd put a little star next to both of those in your notes. Most people seem to forget those. Okay? All right. So I believe we have covered all of this. Again, I'm not going to finish this out for the sake of time. That is stem and leaf plots. If you have questions, let me know, but you should be able to go and complete the practice. The practice will be just like 2.2. You're going to spend most of your time creating stem and leaf plots. I know it's time consuming, but it'll get you really good at it. Thanks, guys.